OK. Now, sitcoms come and go, but few have etched themselves on the nation's consciousness in the way that Dad's Army has. Who can forget catchphrases like, stupid boy, don't panic, and what about Sister Dolly's upside-down cake? But if I were to say, put that light out, I'm sure you'd know exactly who I'm talking about. So please welcome everyone's favourite air raid warden, actor Bill Pertwee.
Oh, marvellous to see you.
I don't know where you're going to go. Oh, now then.
Where am I going?
Where would
Come and sit here, Bill. Come and have a seat next to the sofa.
Hello, Bill.
I thought whilst it was all going on, we might as well have a hug over this side.
Oh, my goodness, we're in sweets as well.
Oh, you're a chocolate man, eh?
No expense spared on this show, Bill.
Actors are always
I'm
starving.
anything, man.
Well, I think in view of the hugging
You get
that
to
went
my
on...
age, you can be anything, can't you? I'm in my second childhood now. Well into my 70s, isn't it? Extraordinary, isn't it?
Fantastic.
You're never over 70, are you? You're over 70.
What? I should think so.
Good grief.
Yes.
Are you, better explain
wonderful.
the hugging first off, as we saw you embracing so warmly.
Pair of lovies. No. We worked together.
We did. We worked together. I can't remember where it was. But I know we worked together.
Richmond pantomime.
Of course.
Yes.
With...
Spike Milligan.
That's it.
Yeah.
With Spike, of course. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a funny to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Right. Now that we've established that...
Spike had a wonderful story, you know, we did the pantomime the year before at Chichester, and Spike, they said, well, Spike's going to put a few things in. OK, that doesn't matter. We were playing the robbers, remember, and they said, he's got an invisible rope on him. You pull the rope in when you think he's had enough doing, you know, and you see the look in his eyes. And I said, yeah, I know, I've worked with him before. And sure enough, it was true. And there was one entrance in the pantomime where Robin Hood had to come through the window looking for us, and I was to say, hide. I was hiding behind a tree, and he had to get into a big trunk, right? This is on the opening night. That was all he had to do, get in the trunk. But as he opened the trunk up to get in, he said, oh, Lord Lucan, what are you doing here? It got a belter, I tell you. The place erupted. And that was Spike, you know, he just to do those wonderful things. Every now and again he'd have, you see the glint in the eye, and you knew something was coming out that wasn't in the script.
I did an interview with him once, stood on the cliffs at Beachy Head, talking about the wartime.
Oh, yes.
And I was doing the interview, and but the wind was firing up, and he was wearing this huge jacket, which kept on filling with wind and vibrating whilst he was talking. And we said, can we take the jacket off? And he said, no. I did the entire interview vibrating like that. Let's get on to Dad's Army, because we have a book here. You brought out the book, Dad's Army, The Making of the Television Legend. Why did you decide to bring out the book?
Well, 7 years ago, I brought out a very small version, right, which did quite well. And suddenly, another publisher, a few months ago, said, there's a lot more information that's come in. Why don't we do a big hardback version? I said, well, if you think there's a lot more information. I thought I knew all there was to know, but of course I didn't, you see. A lot more things came in from the fan club and also from other people on this internet. I don't know what internet is. I say, oh, yes, I know the internet. I don't know what it's all about at all. I don't know anything nowadays. I can't even put a video in the television set, you see. But that's marvellous, because they don't expect you to when you're over 70.
No.
They know you're in a second childhood, so it doesn't matter.
No, yeah.
So it doesn't matter at all.
I can't either, but that's because my children stuffed it full of sandwiches.
You can do anything. You go through a red light, you know, and the policeman says, do you realise you went through a red light? Oh, really? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I shouldn't be driving this car. But carry on, so he doesn't want to get in an argument. So that's what happened. And the people who designed the book for the publishers, PRC, they have done a smashing job, I think. I mean, is that, you know, I've altered, obviously, and added to all the bits and pieces that were in the other one. And there's all some lovely new bits in it.
Well, I have to say, Bill, you've made a young man very happy here, because he's an absolute Dad's Army anorak. And he's been the whole time living to go, oh, I remember that episode. He knows all the pictures, all the words. You know, he's a complete fetish about the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah, but do you get tapped by a lot of people saying, oh, and then try and talk you through episodes?
Yes, that does happen, and some very funny letters too. And phone calls. We had to change our phone number a couple of times because I was getting calls from New Zealand and Australia, particularly the first one from Australia, in the middle of the night. Hello, Bill, is that you? I said, yes, yes. Who's that? Well, I'm just phoning from down under, you know. I'm getting a few facts together about Dad's Army, and I thought, you know, you might sort of help. And I said, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, yeah, well, look, what I wanted to know is, what did Arthur Lowe eat for breakfast?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I said, well, just that? No, I've got a few other questions for you to say. You know, I said, put them down and send them to the care of the BBC, and I'll, you know. Well, a letter arrived a few weeks later with about 5 typed pages of all the things he wanted to know. I can't tell you.
So that's right, why you wrote the book?
They're sent now off to the fan club, the Appreciation Society, who know all the answers. And it's
I'll tell my uncle not to expect a reply then.
Oh, no, I reply. No, I do reply to
do?
everything by hand too. Oh, yes, I say, thank you very much for your letter, you know, and it's being handed on to the appropriate authorities.
OK. Now, the characters, Ben Elton actually said that they were the best-rounded characters ever in a sitcom situation. Fabulous characters. But the characters of the actors that played them were some fabulous characters too, weren't they?
Well, yes, they all had their own egos and their own temperaments and their own great ability. I mean, they had tremendous ability, you know. You see, John Laurie was such great value.
And he was a Shakespearean actor, wasn't he?
Yes.
And was it true that when he first started that he thought that perhaps this might be a little bit beneath him?
I think to start with, he said, and of course it became the history of the show almost. He said right at the beginning, he said to Jimmy Perry, "This is a lot of rubbish." But I mean, a lot of old men running about a field. But still, there's money in it, I suppose. You can pay, it's all right, but I mean, it's rubbish. Now, after 6 or 7 episodes, when it started to take off a bit, he went to Jimmy Perry, he said, "Of course, I had no doubt in my mind, it was going to be a success." And they used that then, of course, in a lot of episodes when he was chastising Mannering for having a crazy notion of something at the beginning, and when it came off, he'd say, "Oh, I knew Mannering was right all the time, I knew all the time."
And of course, the great thing he used to say, "We're all doomed."
Oh, we're all doomed. We're all doomed.
This is great stuff. Let's take a look at another picture because and pop through some of the characters again. Arthur Lowe.
Oh, this bit with a hand. That's all he said. Well, it's all he'd do. I mean, John the Motor would have something around, and he said, and also that other bit when he used to be a bit slow in learning lines sometimes because he was concentrating on other things. Always had plans of his boat, what he was going to do, this lovely boat he bought, you see, and so he sometimes wouldn't. So when you see him now and everything, Jones. That's while he's thinking of what he's going to say.
Is he like a lot of modern comedy actors who treat comedy very, very seriously? Was he very serious off-screen about the whole business? Or was he a good laugh to be with?
He had a lovely, dry sense of humour. Oh, marvellous, yes. I mean, that was a great thing about him. He used to make me laugh. I mean, he knew he could do that. And he used to say, this episode, I know where I'm going to make you laugh. And I would say, well, tell me. Well, all right. When we're marching round there, we have to get a bit faster until you. That's when it'll go. That's when you'll go. I said, oh yes, and sure enough, it worked. Then I did a play with him for about 17 weeks after Dad's Army finished, and he said to me one night, he said, "You go round by the sofa. I shall, a little funny moment for you there." So I said, oh yes, we've told me now, so I won't. And nothing happened when I went round the sofa. But when we got back into the French windows, he put it in there. And of course, I wasn't expecting it. I went straight away. He could do it with just a look or one word. He was an amazing, amazing bloke. Yeah.
Watching, you know, repeats and doing the book, it must be like looking for a family album almost, wasn't it, for you?
Yes, yes, it was. Yes, you're absolutely right there. I hadn't thought about that. That's a very good thing about a family album, yes. Because, I mean, we got to know one another so well. We became like a family. With Clive, yes, Clive, and he would put things in, the things that makes me laugh when you see him. I mean, all right, so he has the lines. We all had wonderful lines. I mean, that was the great thing. And it was all played straight. And there was that lovely feeling amongst everyone that they were going to save England, just as the real Home Guard. Because I had an uncle who was in the Home Guard who was convinced that you know, so therefore, but Clive had this lovely bit where he dashed backwards and forwards on the don't panic bit, and it was go backwards, and it always makes me laugh.
Well, when we knew you were coming on, we said to people at home that they could ring in and ask questions, and I think we actually have a first caller on the line, and I think it's Clive, strangely enough, isn't it? Clive. Are you there, Clive?
Hello?
Hello, Clive.
Hello?
That is Clive.
Hello?
Hello.
Is that Mr. Rogers? Is that Mr. Rogers speaking? Is it?
If you've got something to say, Joe, say it quickly, so I've got to get on.
Is it Mr. Rogers speaking?
Where are you calling from, Clive?
Well, I've been dead for 30 years. But I'm still in love with Mrs. Fox.
Oh, very good.
Yes, I am. I dreamt about her last night. I dreamt she was doing a fan dance with an electric fan. Yes. But can I speak to Mr. Rogers, please?
Yes.
Please, go ahead.
Is that you there? Listen, how did you manage to get yourself on the wireless like this? You're up in London, aren't you?
That's right, Clive, yes.
Yes, you like going up there, don't you, with all them bare-shouldered women and that? You like all the glinsel and titter, don't you? You've always loved that, yes. But I'm glad to speak to you. I wish you'd luck with your book and everything. I didn't even know you could write, but I'm very glad. I wish you all the very best. I never liked you very much. But things are different now. I don't like you at all.
Corporal Jones, can we interrupt and speak to Clive for a moment? Can you put Clive on the line?
Clive?
Yeah.
Just a minute, I'll go and find out. He's under the bed a minute. Hello?
Hello, Clive.
Yeah, hello.
So I noticed from a caption here, you're phoning from Portugal. What are you doing in Portugal?
I beg your pardon?
Without going into too much detail, what takes you to Portugal?
What takes me here?
Yeah.
The sun shines her.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's
It's blazing sunshine here at the moment.
So you live out there?
And whiskey's only £6 a bottle.
No hurricanes or anything? No signs of any bad weather?
Yeah, any bad weather?
No signs of any, huh?
No, I'll go and hide under the bed when the weather's bad.
Do you get the repeats of Dad's Army out there?
Do I get them?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, in various forms.
Clive, why don't you tell the story about Arthur Lowe and the chickens?
Arthur Lowe and the chickens?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Oh, we borrowed my van once. You don't mind if I borrow your van, do you? So I said, no, sir. So he went near a farm and he ran over a cockerel. Being a perfect gent, he got out the van and said to the farmer, I'm sorry, my man, I'd like to replace your cockerel. And the farmer said, please yourself, the hens are round the back.
Clive Dunn, thank you very much for filling in. Nice to speak to you.
Good luck
It's a bit of a shock for you then. Bit of a shock. Do you see him at all anymore now that he's in Portugal?
Yes, he was over about 3 or 4 months ago, yeah, and we meet up and we share a bottle of wine and fall off the stools and are carried home, the pair of us. It's lovely, you see, because he's in his second childhood as well. It's a very good club, this second childhood club.
You've got all this to look forward to with Victoria and all the others, haven't you?
Long time for you yet, but never mind, it's nothing to look forward to.
Oh, yes.
You know, people can't chastise you anymore, you know. It's very good. And I say, oh, it's poor old man. My agent says that I've told them that the white-haired old man must have a car.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yes. No
we did get you one, didn't we?
Oh,
you
yes.
Have to walk.
Oh, no.
Fabulous. OK, and we've got it waiting for you. But stay with us a little while. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Pertwee. And of course, Susie Blake as well. Thank you. OK, now then.